Hi everyone, I'm Jackie Lucky. On the last catch-up meeting that we had for the level 6 exam, some of you were saying that you were struggling with one particular question, and so I promised that I would do a short video and just chat through the question. So I'm just going to share my screen so we can have a look at the question, and then I'm going to show you how to complete it because it is a little bit tricky. Right, let's get on with it. Okay. So this is question 8 from the March 2020 exam paper. And you can see here it says John would like to have £30,000 gross income per annum in retirement at the age of 65. Assuming an annuity rate of 3% and an investment growth rate of 7%, how much does he need to save per month at the following ages? Show all your workings. Okay. So we need to do two calculations before we get to our final answer to be able to answer these two questions. So I have my calculator here. So I'm going to show you how to do it with your Hewlett-Packard HB10B2 Plus. So if you follow along with that, it's slightly different than the way the model answer is set out, which we will look at in a second. So the first thing we need to do is, it's not just a straightforward TVM calculation, because the first thing we need to do is we need to work out what the total fund value has got to be if an annuity taken from the fund value of 3% gives us £30,000. So all we're doing is we take 30,000, you don't need to fancy your calculator for this bit, but you take the £30,000 and you divide by 3%. And we get a fund value of £1 million. So that's 1 and 6 zeros, write that down correctly. Now, that is the future value. That is the fund value that we need at John's age 65. And we need to work out what the payment is, so what PMT is, in order to get us to £1 million. And so, first of all, we need to think, right, is he paying monthly or is he paying annually? And is he paying at the start of each month or each year, or is he paying at the end of each period? So in this situation, as you normally would with any investment policy, particularly if you're saving for a pension or something, you would normally pay at the start of the month. So we need to make sure that our calculator has the words begin in the bottom corner of our calculator. And I think you all know how to do that. I've explained that on a previous video. So the way that we do that is you find on yours, I've got a slightly different calculator, but it does the same thing. Find on one of your shift keys, it says beg/end, and then do shift and change the payments. You can see that there, hopefully. It says begin in the bottom of your screen. So that means the payments are going to be made at the start of each period. Now, the next thing to set our calculators for is how many periods are we having, and that is he wants to pay monthly, so we need to set our payments per year, so that's P/YR needs to be 12. So you remember how to check whether your calculator is set to 1 payment per year or 12 payments a year or anything in between. And that is, you press the shift and the clear all button and hold down the clear all button. Again, you should see there that mine says 12 payments per year. If by any chance yours says 1 payment per year, then you need to amend that. So the clear all won't change what that says. So what you would need to do is type 12 in and then do shift and find the shift button that says P/YR and press that. And then if you clear that off and then do shift and clear all, then you will get 12 payments per year. Okay, so we need to do that to start with. We have done shift and clear all, so we've cleared everything that's in the memory of our calculator as best practice, so we don't leave any figures in there accidentally. So we know now that we're paying monthly, we're paying at the beginning of each month, and we know that we're trying to find £1 million at John's age 65. So we do, the next thing we already have been given is I over YR, which is 7%. Now, all you need to do is put 7 in. You don't need to divide by 12 or anything like that, which you might have done with your calculator. You just put the interest rate in because you're telling it that that's the annual interest, but it's being paid over on a monthly basis. So you don't need to worry about dividing it by 12 or anything like that. Just put in 7. So we've got our future value is 1 million. I over YR is 7. We know that the present value, so PV, is 0 because the question is asking us how much does they need to pay every month over these 2 terms in order to get £1 million at the end. So it doesn't say that he's got any money to invest at the moment, any extra lump sums or anything like that. So that means that our present value has got to be 0. So we write down that one as well. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we've got 2 calculations to do for n, which is the number of periods, okay? So we know that we're paying monthly, so if every year that we're calculating, we have to multiply by 12 and to get the n. So, so in the first instance, he's currently at age 30, and we've got a plan for age 65. So he's got 35 years. But we need to convert that to months. So it's 35 times 12, which should be 420. And then in our next example, we might as well do that bit now. Our next example, he's 50 and we're taking it to age 65. So it's 15 years times 12, and that should be 180. Now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find our payment, so our PMT. And we've got payment for the 35-year term and payment for the 15-year term. Okay, so we've got everything now that we need, and we can just plug those figures in. So we're going to plug in £1 million for future value. Make sure I've got enough noughts there, 6 noughts, right? Our interest rate is 7, so just pop 7 in. Present value is 0, so just pop 0 in. And n, we'll do the first one, n is 420. And then just press PMT after you've done all of that. So remember, you press the number in first and then press the button that you want to add it to. So for example, 7%, I press 7, then I press I over YR. Then when you get to the end, all you do is press the button of the one that you're missing. So I make that, so in my case, it will be a negative number because I'll explain why in a second. I make that 55201. And all I need to do is change the term. So I can clear all, no, don't clear all, just clear at the bottom, and then change my term from 420 to 180. So I can just put 180 in the N and press for payment, and I get minus 3136.65. Now remember, we've talked about on the previous video why it's a minus number. So essentially it's because we have to think about where the money is being given away, or we're getting it back. And essentially what we're saying is, because I've put a positive number in for FV, for the future value, the £1 million, then you're basically giving away this monthly contribution now so that you can get £1 million back in the future. And that's why the answer is negative. So the actual answer is 55201, and how much he needs to save is 55201 for the 35-year term and 3136.65 for the 15-year term. Now, let's just have a look at the model answer, because the model answer is very slightly different. You'll see that I'm about £5 out on the first answer and yes, about £10 out on the second answer. And that is just the roundings to the number of decimal places. I've done it more accurately. I've done it to 9 decimal places. Now, the thing that might be throwing you is this monthly growth rate. And it's quite common the way the chief examiner sets it out, because they don't actually use the same calculator as the one that we've got. So this here, where it says 0.07 divided by 12, you don't need to do that on your calculator. So if you have, that's probably why when you are looking at the model answer, you just think, God, I don't get anywhere near that kind of figure. Your figure is probably significantly larger than that and just doesn't work. So you can see that we haven't exactly got the right answer, but we are very, very close. And that's why the question says to show your workings. So as long as you show your workings and write down what you have, just as I've written down what I have, I've got it all written down here. So you write the same kind of thing down, and what you're listing out clearly is the conversion of the annuity to the lump sum to get you £1 million, and that is FV. So I hope that helps you all sort that question out, and best of luck with your exam in March. See you soon. Bye.